You're a performative male. What does that mean? Am I a man that performs? Absolutely.
Hot take, and you're either going to be ready to hear this or you're not going to be. Women historically have been slaves. I understand there's different forms of slavery.
Everybody has been slaves everywhere throughout all of time. They're still slaves now. There's no difference. You're going to work for pitiful amounts of money so that you could barely afford a place to live and some food. When you were slaves, they would just give that shit to you. So nothing's changed. Saying women are slaves is just, I gotta wait to see what she says about this. I'm curious.
But women, in the true definition of the word, have been enslaved. Marriage was the act of making women property. Marriage.
Yeah, women have been enslaved because, staying at home and having to take care of kids. Holy shit, such grueling fucking work. It's so difficult. Man, washing a couple dishes. We're exactly on the same level as people who were enslaved, who were whipped constantly and berated and given absolute filth for food and worked in horrendous conditions. People constantly screaming at you, your bones fucking shaking, sleepless nights, people getting murdered in front of you. Oh, it's so hard being a woman. It's exactly the same. Actually, sorry, women have it worse than that, Could you imagine having to wash some underwear? Like, come on. That we gotta all agree that's a million times worse than being repeatedly whipped until you bleed, right? We're all on the same page here, correct? I'd say so.
Marriage was the way of exchanging women as property. Marriage was the property transfer of a woman between her father and her husband. Regardless of how you feel about it, that's the fact.
Correct. That's how it should still be.
That was the original purpose of marriage as a construct. The reason why you see divorce rates rise is because women finally have agency over whether or not we stay in these marriages.
Yeah, and coincidentally, society has been swirling down the fucking toilet bowl since, hasn't it?
The reason why you're seeing marriage rates and birth rates decline is because for the first time in human history, women have had more agency than we've ever had on whether or not we get married in the first place and whether or not we decide to have children.
That's definitely not the only reason.
There's a reason why women have been socially conditioned into believing that if we don't have children, or if we're not married, or a man didn't choose us, that's like the biggest insult to our identity or our value as human beings.
Because what else do you have as a purpose if not having children and being married? What else is your purpose in life? To go out partying and shaking your ass and drink until you're numb? I don't understand. What do you consider to be the epitome of the human experience if not for having children? If it's just living your life and not really ever accomplishing anything and just having fun, I think that's very pathetic.
I personally disagree with the entire construct of marriage. I believe that marriage signifies the ownership of women, and I disagree with it as a concept as a whole. And if you're not new to my page, you know that I have no intention of ever getting married. I relish in the idea of being single. I do not want to have any children. And I relish in the idea that for the first time, I'm one of the first generations of women who have the freedom to not participate in any of those things. So to me,
that's good because at least she is abstaining from the whole thing. There's some women who have this kind of mindset and then they marry some poor dude and fuck him over. This is a better option than that.
Not only is it not an insult to my identity and does not dictate my worthiness as a human.
Yeah, it really does. It really does dictate your worthiness as a human being. If nobody wants you and you can't get along with somebody and you're not going to have kids, what use do you have in society? You're bringing such great amounts of achievement to humanity by sitting in front of a computer and typing some shit away in an office and answering some emails. You're bringing so much amazing utility to humanity. And when you die, it's going to be like you didn't even exist. Is that something you want to be proud of?
Being, it is a privilege that I get to choose not to get married. It is a privilege that I get to choose not to have children. And I believe that as a woman, you should avoid getting married. You should avoid having children. I think if you are even
she does realize, like, surely that if everybody listened to this advice, humanity would cease to exist. This is the most brain dead take you could have as a person, is telling people not to have kids. It's like someone who's masculine who wants to soften themselves by drinking matcha, read feminist literature, tried and use this to gain women's approval, and other things about the stereotype. Okay, so it's a soy boy. Yeah, no, I'm not that. Definitely not. I couldn't give a fuck what women think of me, which ironically is exactly what they like. So works well in my favor.
Remotely on the fence about any of those concepts, you need to avoid it. Marriage benefits men, and having children benefits the patriarchy. I'm not saying that.
I would have thought it just benefits humanity, to continue our species. I'd love to hear her counter argument to, if I said that, hey, we're all gonna die if we don't have kids. I want to know what she'd have to say about that. That's crazy. And how does it benefit men? Like, obviously both people benefit, but marriage primarily benefits women because it's a safety net for having children. It puts you in a position where the law is sanctioning your relationship. So if you get pregnant by that man, he's going to have to financially support you. It's mostly for women's benefit.
That's where it gets kind of like muddy. Like, I think that marriage does have protections for women who do want to have children,
yes,
or for
precisely.
women who are with a partner who's great. There are legal protections around that marriage works in favor for. But as a general concept, I think marriage represents the enslavement of women. I think marriage represents, and
why?
This is just the way it is. This
Say
is my
why.
opinion. This is what it's been historically. Marriage represents.
She's just saying shit, but she's not really giving any reasons for why.
The ownership of property that is women. Marriage is a huge deal, and especially as a woman, if you are at all on the fence about getting married, you need to not get married.
Why,
Fuck
bitch?
The soft life shit. Fuck the not doing anything with your life. Fuck not making your own money. You need to make your own money. That is a privilege. That is a blessing that you live in a time where you can make your own money and you can make something out of your own life. Do not trade this privilege that women have fought for
Are you going to say why?
Or for trips to Erewhon. You are worth so much more than that. Your life is worth so much more than that. You live in a time unlike any other in human history. There are women before you.
This is a fucking nothing burger. She's not saying anything.
To be able to have the opportunities that you have today. They would have given anything. If you marry a rich man, your life will be controlled by him. Your quality of life is going to be dictated by that man. Your relationship may look a certain way today, but it could be very different 10 years from now. It could be very different after you have 4 of his children. It's not
really untrue. I genuinely think that the signs are always there for what kind of person someone is. You just don't see them. People don't suddenly change after 10 years. You can tell what kind of person they are beforehand. People don't just flip like that randomly unless they get into some kind of horrific accident and their brain is all fucking discombobulated.
Worth the Chanel bags. It's not worth the Cartier bracelets. It's not worth the fancy vacations. This is your one life. This is your independence. This is your autonomy. Please just think very long and hard before you enter these contracts. Because
I genuinely think she's not gonna say shit. This is the biggest nothing burger of all time.
Getting out of marriage, going through a divorce is a fucking grueling process. Co-parenting with somebody who is being difficult, who is trying to control you, is a
Is there a way to speed this up on
consuming
desktop
process? You need to really understand what you're signing up for when you do that. This is not something that you do unless you are absolutely sure.
Yeah, you're signing up for a wonderful experience. Oh no, so scared.
And it's super nuanced, and there are legal protections that work in women's favor when it comes to marriage. But if I were to give you any kind of advice, avoid getting married, make your own money, do your own thing with your life. Do not put all your eggs in the basket of a man.
Okay, so she didn't say anything. And someone said brilliant. This is why women need to be property, because they hear something like this, a woman just repeatedly saying, don't get married without giving any reason why for like 5 minutes. And then they're like, brilliant. This is the most enlightening thing I've ever heard in my life. Holy shit. How did I live my life before coming across this wisdom? It's unbelievable. I have gained the power of the wise sage. Yeah, this is why women need to be property. The amount of people that are agreeing with this is nuts. Agreeing with what exactly? She didn't explain anything. What are you agreeing with? Most sheep behavior of all time.